What's going on, guys? My name is Joe Graves, and this is Mastering Business Growth. Running a business can either be amazing or an absolute nightmare. So on this show, I speak with people who are killing it in business, and I find out what it really takes to succeed. If you think you'd be a good guest, then drop me an email at joe@innersound.media. Enjoy the episode. This show is called Mastering Business Growth because I want to master business growth. You've obviously done some great stuff in business, so please tell us a bit about who you are, what you've done.
Okay, so I'm Fran. I'm from Eximious Alliance. I run Eximious Alliance with my co-founder, Alison Sarmiento. Should I tell you a bit about my background? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I was actually going to jump into that, going to bring us back, but everything from where you started to what you're doing now, please.
Okay, so my background is actually in business analysis and quality assurance and software testing. So that's my background. I moved into freelancing and consulting. So I started helping other organisations do that. And then on a bike ride, I met my friend and co-founder, Alison. On
a bike ride?
On a bike ride,
That
yes.
is so wholesome.
Very wholesome. Funnily enough, actually heading in this direction towards York.
You on the planet's path, by any chance?
No.
Yeah, me and my brother Sam, we bike there all the time.
All right. I've no idea what path we're on. So I met Alison on a bike ride, and over time, we got to know each other and talked. And Alison's background, so she started her change and improvement career in the NHS in service improvement as a service improvement lead. So we realised actually that we both came from different perspectives, but we both did something similar, and we both had a passion for helping organisations make improvements. And measurable improvements as well, so that you really knew what improvements you'd made. So, is this
something people do generally, or did it seem like a completely unique idea at the time?
No, I mean, business analysis has been around for a while. I think that concept came to BCS kind of put some structure around it. So that's the British Computer Society, put some structure around business analysis. Late 80s, early 90s, I think. So as a concept, it's been around for a while. Really, fundamentally, it was about going out and helping other organisations make those improvements. And really, that's focusing on what opportunities there are. So helping it take organisations to take a step back and thinking about the opportunities that there are, challenging them on that, thinking about the issues that they face. And again, just thinking about reframing those into different ways of thinking about it and how you can come up with solutions, and ultimately helping organisations navigate their way through the changes that you need to make the improvements.
Did you say you were freelance at this point? Or?
Yes. So, both Alison and myself did it freelance, and then actually what we ended up doing when we realised that we both worked in a very similar way is actually we started bringing each other into different contracts. And then eventually Eximious Alliance was born. So our focus at Eximious Alliance is very much on improvement and measurable improvement. And our framework, I guess, for measuring those things is always around doing a review. So where are you at now? Looking for those opportunities, understanding the issues that you've got. Reframing those so that you are challenged. You can think about them in a different way, perhaps from a different perspective. And then refocusing. So where are you going to get the biggest bang for your buck? What's the things that really matter, and how can you what are the steps that you need to take to get there?
I got you. So have you productized all of this, or is it bespoke services each time?
So we have 3 offers. So I'll tell you about those. So, and our core offer is bite-sized consultancy. That is bespoke. It's always with that framework that I just talked about review, reframe, refocus. So that's kind of at the heart of everything that we do. Bite-sized consultancy, we like that term because it can be a bit of a nibble or it can be a big mouthful. So it kind of depends on what the issue is that an organisation wants to explore or the opportunity that they want to explore. And so you might need to delve deeper into those than some more than others.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, for clarity, how broad are these services? Like, give me some like detailed examples of what you would do when you go into a company.
A good example, actually, is one that was fairly recently, where an organisation, very ambitious, really wanted to grow, and recognised that they had some, let's say, IT issues, some tech issues, and that, it's not quite working for us. There's lots of noise, let's say, people going, oh, I'm having to wait for this, or I can't, I can't get hold of the data that I need, or whatever it might be. So they had some issues around their tech and how they were using it. And so we did a piece of bite-sized consultancy where it was a full review of their tech. And it's not just looking at their tech. So I said, we're about people, we're about process, and about technology. So guess who uses technology? People do. Even with AI, people still use technology and are still the customers of technology. So it was really talking to the organisation, so people in the organisation, the people who do the tasks. And this was actually a research organisation. So talking to them to help them understand what their problems were. Because, as I said, a lot of noise. People can whinge and moan about all sorts of things. And actually, when you get down to it, you discover different things. You discover different ways of working. So that can be a reason why tech doesn't work for you, because perhaps people aren't using it correctly, whatever it might be. So fundamentally, that was really important that we spoke to the people and understood how they worked and what their problems were. And then part of that is also thinking about what their processes are. And ideally, what we'd do is actually think about what's the leanest process. But for this particular piece, we just kind of wanted to know where they were at with their process, and then how technology was supporting that or not supporting it, hindering it. So that's what we did. And as it turned out, this particular organisation didn't have their Microsoft suite on Azure, so there was lots of connectivity issues and some real basic things actually that they could put right.
Do you know what my immediate thoughts there are? How is it possible that the manager of this company didn't recognise, oh, this is a problem? Oh, I need to look for someone. Like, how is it that someone like you needs to come and step in on a situation like this?
Yeah, I think it's he did recognise it. That's why he asked us to come in.
Right.
People don't always have the expertise.
I guess that's it, because I have no idea how any of this works. So I'm obviously missing steps. I don't know what I don't know. I'm just wondering, like, what kind of things kind of get in the way of someone just directly looking for a solution?
Yeah, I guess there's the not knowing what they don't know. I think they are looking for a solution when they come to talk to us. I think that's exactly what they're looking for. And there's a recognition that they don't know it all. And they need help from people who know other things. We don't know everything. So, do
you ever find that to be a problem where people, you can maybe see, because I mean, that'll be part of how you begin conversations with companies. You can see there's problems. That's kind of how it works. You go in and offer your services. The people kind of think, no, I don't need this.
So I think, our growth has been, has come from our reputation.
Yeah.
So people have recognised they've got a bit of an issue, and they know us, or that somebody else knows us and has recommended us. So that's how we've grown. So it's been quite organic growth. We are doing some rebrand work at the moment, actually ourselves. So we recognise that we had a bit of a gap, and actually we needed to get our message out more. You can't rely fully on organic growth, I don't think.
So would people turn to you, for example, when they just go, right, I need this problem sorting now. I don't, I just need it done, sort of thing. Is that where you'd step in? So we have like how I mentioned before, like people might think they don't need you. Our problem with that is when, people go, just film on your phone. And we're like, well, yeah, of course you can, but there's a huge difference. Yes. How do you get that across? So
I think that's part of what we're aiming to do at the moment. So part of the rebrand is to reflect who we are and how we work, which hopefully is in quite a fun way. We like to have fun when we're making a difference, and really focused on the people in the organisation and those relationships. I think they're really important. So we need to get that message across. And one thing that we are working on at the moment is actually, I'm going going to call it a scorecard. I'm not sure if that's what it'll be called eventually, but to help people ask a few key questions and go, just to kick off some of that thinking really and go, actually, yeah, I thought I had it all, but actually, maybe there's a few gaps here, and there's always opportunity to do something better. And I think, I really like the concept of continuous improvement, and I think hopefully we're all trying to do that with ourselves and who we are as human beings, but also with our businesses as well. I think that's really important. So you can have a business which is doing great, but if you just keep on doing what you're doing, that might work for you for quite a while, actually, could work a long time. But the likelihood is that at some point, something will change. No, not necessarily what you're doing, but out in the market or in the context of the wider world, something will change. COVID will happen. All the things we never expected to happen. And so you need to be, thinking about how you adapt and make those improvements. So you're constantly keeping up with what's going on around you.
So the scorecard you mentioned there, that brings me to what I want to talk about next, which is, I mentioned before we started filming, I believe there's two major parts to a business. There's getting the work and doing the work.
Yes.
And when most people start a business, they just think about doing the work. And it's that classic story of, right, set up, I know what I'm doing, I'm open, I'm ready for work. And it's like, where is everyone? It's that kind of thing. So then you realize, oh shit, I need to do some business development or like lead generation. Is the scorecard your form of lead generation, or what you plan on using to kind of introduce people to your services?
Yes, it's definitely one of the ways in which we want to introduce it. And we have other organisations who we do some mutual referrals with. So actually, it's a really useful tool for them if it's something which is a little bit of a tricky subject to bring up, because telling people that perhaps they could do things better.
That is the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a hard thing, isn't it? And it's something, clients don't always want us to talk about them. So we keep our case studies quite...
it's like a non-intrusive way of letting people figure it out for themselves. Hey, there could be a better way.
Yes, yeah. So that's definitely a way in that we want to do. Also thinking about, obviously our website and making it much clearer on there. I think I mentioned earlier, started talking about bite-sized consultancy, didn't I? So our other offers, I'll just very briefly mention them. Well, I'll mention one briefly. I'll talk about the other. So bite-sized consultancy, we also have embedded resource solutions, also known as people, brilliant people. So if we've done some consultancy and actually we've come up with a plan, the organisation know what they want to do, but actually they don't have either the capacity, as in enough people to help them make the changes, or the skills perhaps to do it. So they might need some more detailed analysis work, for example, or a bit of project management. We can help them with that as well. And the embedded bit is really about being working in partnership with their people. We're not the great I ams who come and do change to you. That's kind of the absolute antithesis of what we are. We do change together, and we really believe that people have their own answers, and actually it's about giving them space to be able to be creative with their ideas, share their ideas, and come up with a solution together. So we really like to work in partnership with the teams. And then our latest offering, this is very exciting because this is hot off the press, and it will be launched at the same time as our brand relaunch, is our newest offer, which is our Business Ally programme. So this has come about because we've talked to organisations and they've said, that's great, I really want your advice and I want your support. But actually, bite-sized consultancy is a bit more than I can bite off and chew at the moment. I'm in an earlier stage of my business, so they might not have the budget for it. So we want to be the business ally through all their evolution of their business. So that's what the Business Ally programme is about. It's about being able to support a smaller business. So it's focused on a workshop. So we'll have a half-day workshop.
Are these in person?
It can be in person or online. Kind of depends, obviously, where in the country people are, and what suits people. And again, we'll take you through the review, reframe, refocus, really help people think about the opportunities, or the issues that might be there. And some of those you talked about earlier. Yeah, I can do this. Oh, hang on a minute. What's business development? What technology do I need? Do I need people? Oh, crikey, processes, what are they? All those things that actually you kind of learn on the hoof when you're starting a business. So we can help people get more mature with some of those things. And where there's things that we don't necessarily help with, if they come out in that workshop, might be branding. We're not brand experts, but we can point people to those things and again help make sure that they're taking real action to get the support that they need. Following that, we have a monthly check-in session. So that'll be an hour's check-in online, and also weekly email check-ins. So that, again, I keep thinking of it like personal training.
Yes.
But for business owners, really.
Yeah.
So really helping them keep accountable to the plan that we'll have come up with, and helping them with any questions that they might have or stumbling blocks as they're taking those actions.
You mentioned before it's awkward when you approach a business like, hey, you're doing it wrong. It's strange, isn't it? Because everyone has to do that one way or another, even if it's just very subtly through things like writing blogs. Like, do you have this problem? Oh, well, here's the answer. Yes. There's ways to do it because that's
you've
that's
got
what
to
people
help
do.
People recognise their problems.
You have to approach it from almost like a perspective of like care for what people are doing. You have to genuinely believe in do you know what? The reason I'm doing this, the reason I've put my neck on the line to start this business is because people's lives would be a lot better if they got this right.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the other thing that people don't always think about, or maybe they think about but they don't quite understand what the ramifications are, is they think about starting the business. They don't always think about exiting the business or where they want it to go to. And making sure you've got your people right, you've got clearly defined, efficient processes, and you've got the technology that supports both of those things, then you're in a much better place, whether that's for growth or for exit and getting a good deal on your business. So I think there's always thinking that those few steps ahead. It's not always thinking about, well, this is exciting, I'm starting something new.
Yeah, I like it. So in terms of acquiring the work, it's always just been focus on personality, basically be a company that people want to work with. They trust you, you're totally reliable, kind of word of mouth from there. And now you're focusing on other things like scorecards and lead generation like that. Yeah.
I think it's really, for us, it's now about getting that message out. So you might have noticed on LinkedIn that we're putting more content out. That's been quite organic the last few months because we've been working really hard in the background on our rebrand, working with a lovely lady called Lee. So lots of work has been going on. I'm just waiting for the second drop of our website design today. So I'm waiting with bated breath for that. So loads of really exciting things happening. And it's I guess coming back to the things that you don't know. I guess some of that we didn't know until we started working with Lee, who's helped us open our eyes to some things around brand and how we present ourselves and get messaging across. So, we all need an expert to help us with the things that we don't know, or we potentially think we know a little bit about, and then we have that realization that actually we don't really know as much as we thought, or we might know, but actually don't really have the skill set or the time to do. So, yes, there's a new website coming out. Lots more LinkedIn content coming out. I think video is going to be a big thing for us. We're really thinking about how we actually share our message. So at the moment when we have conversations, which are really important to us, it's getting that relationship and creating that relationship is really important. But there are some things that you say time and time again. So actually being able to share video content back to people that we've talked to, and they can share it because we work with some larger organisations, not all small ones. We work with quite substantial organisations. They can share that with their peers or with their seniors if they're looking for sign off on budget, that kind of thing. So it's, I guess, just amplifying that message and making it easy for people to share what we do.
Well, I remember hearing that video is basically a simple way of scaling face-to-face, because in a dream world, you would be meeting people, networking.
Yeah.
It's the only way you really kind of get to know someone. But it's also kind of why we feel like we know celebrities, even though they don't know who we are. It's like, I've seen your movies, I've seen you in that interview, I feel like I know you. And then you've got that sort of bias towards them. And it's just like that, people buy from people they know and like. So video has become very important in that respect.
Oh, I wonder if I'll feel like a celebrity then.
You probably will a little bit. I mean, it's just in the smallest way possible, like a celebrity in your field, because it's like anything, I mean, how many more companies are there out there that do similar things to what you do, but not in the same way, or you've never heard of them. So who are they going to work with? People they've heard of or not heard of?
Yes, absolutely. And I think, when we've been thinking about our social media, which at the moment our focus is very much on LinkedIn. That might broaden later, but at the moment it's LinkedIn. That's where I think you've got to be putting the content out for people to lodge in people's minds. I think somebody told me that people need to see things like 9 times or something, and then
I've heard many rumours about the touch points and that. Yeah. But I mean, it does make sense. The more you're exposed to something, the more it's like, again, same deal. Even like if I've seen people posting videos and then you get a message off them, it's like, it's not so shocking. It's like, I feel like I actually know you a bit already. Yeah. It's just one of them things, isn't it?
Well, hopefully you do know them a little bit already, because I think people's personality comes across in a way that is much harder in email or just written content. I often think you can look at a text message, and depending on what voice you read it in, it can mean very different things.
Well, that's it. I mean, like years ago when we were doing music stuff, and like we would get some bands that would email us like, "Oh, can you mix these songs?" Yeah, sure. It's this price, and send the files, mix it. It's like, I don't even know what you look like. And I can't believe that now, because that is not possible in the sort of B2B world. I almost can't believe it looking back. Like, how did that happen? But, people know, I mean, like, we had a bit of a name as music producers, and that kind of worked for them. They trusted us. I didn't have to know who, obviously I would, have a look on their, website, Facebook and that, but, you don't even get a good look at who they are. You don't know anything about them.
No.
Just, sure, I'll do that job. And it's just strange thinking back. What I wanted to talk about next was just operations a bit. We touched on it a little about how you deliver these services. So could you, and again, for anyone listening, anyone who's curious, like thinking, I might be able to work with you guys, this could be good, just give me a bit more of an idea as to how it would look working with you guys.
When somebody contacts us, we aim to have a 30-minute chemistry call to find out a little bit more about them, and for them to find out a bit more about us and how we work. And really, we want to know what they're looking to achieve, whether that be focusing on an issue, an opportunity, they need some resource, whatever it might be. So understanding what it is they want. We'll let people go away, have a think about that. We'll send them some information on email, and then have a follow-up chat with them if need be to see where they want to go next. Talked about our 3 offers. Business Ally program. So if they sign up for that, we'll be doing a session with them to, first of all, do a bit of a fact find session ahead of any workshop. And that's obviously because we need to find out more about them, what they want their focus of the workshop. So it's their workshop. So it's what the focus or what the most important things are for them. And then we would run that workshop. And I think I've already mentioned, we then have some follow-up sessions to give them advice and support and help keep them accountable. If it's bite-sized consultancy, similar kind of process really in terms of a fact finding out more about their opportunity or the issue that they want to explore, and we create again a workshop initially, so we call it a first bite workshop. So I think that's we need to have a starting point, so that will be co-created with them, and then we'll follow with that workshop up with some recommendations that they can take away and decide what they want to do with next.
And how long is the process from, let's say, you get the call, I think I need this, you chat, And, like when you obviously start talking, price and stuff like that, is there a lot of working out like, well, if we're going to do exactly this, and there's a lot of back and forth, or is it fairly simple to be like, okay, off we go with this package?
So if the Business Ally program is right for them, that's a fixed price. So they're straight into that. They know exactly what they're going to get for that. Bite-sized consultancy. The first Bite workshop, again, is a fixed price. Any consultancy after that obviously would be totally bespoke. And then embedded resource solutions that I talked about, again, that does depend on the type of resource that we're bringing in and their skill sets. But usually that's on a time and materials basis.
A couple of things I want to touch on before we wrap this. You want to talk specifically about a fundamental belief of yours?
So we believe that you can change without improving, but you can't improve without change. So people often talk in our industry about business change or change and that kind of thing. And of course, yes, it's very hard to make changes, which is true. But really, there's no point just making changes if you're not making any improvements. Alison always likes to say, it's just moving the deck chairs around. It's kind of, you're not achieving anything.
I agree. Stopping just doing busy work. Everything has to be done with purpose. Absolutely.
So for us, it's really fundamental. And we do this ourselves internally. So if we make a change, we stick to our own rules, which is firstly thinking about what it is that you really want to achieve. Then thinking about what you can measure to go, how will we know if we've succeeded? So what are the things that you can measure? And that could be anything. And then taking some baseline measures. So you know where you're starting from, which is really important because people are quite good, in my experience, of forgetting that bit. And then they go, yeah, we finished a project. Didn't we do well? I don't know, did you? What have you measured to know whether you've done well? And sometimes they just think they've done well because they've got to the end of the project.
Yeah, as opposed to like, oh, look, we've doubled our revenue.
Yes, or we've changed this KPI or whatever it might be. So it's really important that you think about what you really want to impact up front. And sometimes you don't have the measures, and that's okay. You can create the measures. You can go, right, okay, we're going to start doing something so that we're measuring this before we start making the changes. And then in terms of, making those changes, we like to take a test and learn approach internally. So make a small change, see how that impacts the measure, and then learn from that. Sometimes it doesn't work. Never mind. Failed fast. Move on to the next one. You know what's going to happen next, and hopefully you've learned something from that, and then you can make another change. They can be incremental. So that's often a good way of managing things.
Something you said before we started filming: people and process need to harness technology, and not the other way around.
Yes. So this is something I like to jump on the bandwagon of. Quite often we have organisations that come to us and they might say, we need a new CRM or we need a new XYZ system. It doesn't really matter what system it is. Okay, brilliant. We can help you with that. Why do you need one? What's the problem? It's broken. We need one. Okay, well, what's broken about it? So actually, it's really thinking about what is it that the people are doing. So thinking about your process, what is it that they want to receive at the end of that process? So we've got customers, whether they be internal or external customers, and really thinking about those things first, because if you have a really good process and people who know what they're doing, fundamentally, then technology simply needs to support that. Too often people rush that process. They don't think about that. And they see something new and shiny over there. And there's lots of this about with AI. Everybody wants some AI, something or other widget, and we must have that. And they rush out and buy something. Or maybe they're just blindsided by the spiel by the salesman or whatever it might be. And so we quite often find organisations who've made that mistake before. So they wanted a new CRM, they went and bought one. Guess what? Everybody's moaning about it because it doesn't support what they do. And it doesn't give them what they need. So actually, they've gone, actually, we need some help doing this better next time. We probably need a new CRM because everybody's moaning about it over here. It didn't go very well.
Now you have a clear problem and solution.
Yes. So actually, how can we do it better next time? Okay, let's think about the people, let's think about the process, and let's go and find technology that supports that. And every now and then, I have come across organisations who've already got the right technology. What they haven't got is people who knew how to use it, people who were trained or bought into the original project. So actually, they were thinking the technology is rubbish because it didn't meet their needs. It genuinely didn't meet their needs. But sometimes that was simply because somebody was using it the wrong way. So I think it's really important that people get the requirements right, that meet those people's needs. The process is really already lean and is not a wasteful process in the first place, because if you've got a poor process, systemizing it won't make it any better. You'll just have an automatic poor process. So, you've really got to think about those things first. Organisations which sometimes already have the right technology, it might be that they're not using it to its full potential. It might be that people aren't trained on it very well or aren't following the process that they should be following. Sometimes you get that, and it's simply, actually, we need to think about how can we help people do that rather than jumping to we need new technology.
So broadly speaking, you are the final call in coming into a company, analysing the correct problems and providing the correct solutions.
Yes.
Final things I want to touch on. In business in general, there's some brutal lows and some extremely high highs. You mentioned before we started filming this, optimism and belief. Can you give me an example, or maybe even just talk generally about a dark time in business and how optimism and belief got you through it?
Yes. Which ones to pick?
I've got like 3 just from today.
Yeah. So when we first incorporated Eximious Alliance, that was actually a week before the first COVID lockdown. So that was a bit of a surprise and a bit of a challenge, let's say. So we were all gung-ho. Yeah, brilliant. We're going to do this. Fantastic. Really excited. Literally probably went for the last glass of champagne in a pub that you could do for a very long time. And then COVID happened and, lockdown happened. So that could have been really tough. I mean, it was tough in many ways for everybody, obviously. From a business point of view, I think I had a sharp intake of breath and thought, it'll be all right. And
sometimes you just got to go mental and be like, it's fine.
Yeah. So it was like, okay, well, what can we do? So actually, it meant that we had a window of opportunity to really think about who we were for, what our unique selling points were, all those things which I think you don't always think about. When you're starting a business, as you said earlier, it's like, yay, I can do this thing. I'm good to go. I've got a name, I've got a logo. How exciting. So actually it helped us, gave us a bit of a step back to help us think about some of those things. And actually, the reality was different, I think, from what could have been, oh no, the world shut down. Because what happened for us is it opened the world up to an online way of working, which meant that we were able to get clients which we probably hadn't really thought about. So when we started, we were very much thinking we'd be Yorkshire focused, and we'd be working with Yorkshire businesses, maybe the odd one in London because you can get a train down there, that sort of thing. And we ended up with clients in Scotland, Cornwall, Isle of Man, basically the 4 corners of the UK. So I fundamentally believe if you keep believing, keep being optimistic, things will just manifest.
You know what? I will mirror that. Sam will have to remind me at the exact times when we finish this, but it was maybe a week or 2 again before lockdown. We just finished building this studio.
Oh, brilliant.
And it was the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But that again, it meant that we lost it was like 10, 11 months worth of bookings,
Yeah.
which was brutal.
Yeah.
And again, it was same day, like, wow, we're screwed. This is done, you know? And, but here we are now. It made us look for other things, and now we just do podcasts.
Yeah.
Well, mostly podcasts now, and took us out of music, which was, we could see that crumbling anyway. You know, you'd have to know much to know the music industry is terrible. But,
Changed.
Changed. And, like, no one's really making money in it anymore. But, you know, that what we once thought was like the certain end gave us this great new kind of face of the business. So, no, you're right.
Yeah, I think, you know, nothing is certain. Absolutely nothing is certain. So that's why it's great to always be thinking about, you know, improvements or innovation. You know, how can you do something differently? I think it's constantly thinking about how you can, I was going to say change, but actually I mean improve, make things better.
Fran, we'll call it there.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Again, if you think you'd be a good guest on the show, then please drop me an email at joe@innersound.media. See you in the next episode.